So I was about to check out when the store owner says, "Hey, you really like that 50s and 60s sound?" I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "Well, hang on." Hey guys, this is Katie with Vintage and Vinyl, back with another great video, and today we are going in one of my favorite record stores. Yesterday and today's, they were in the Beach Boulevard Flea Market, and now they finally have their own store, and it is so much fun to go in and look around. They've got a great selection of vinyl, and they do Record Store Day in such a great fashion. So I can't wait to take you around this store, show you what records they have, and maybe pick up something cool for my collection. Let's go, folks. So right when you walk in the door, there's a whole series of bins filled with awesome 50s and 60s music. And look at this. This is probably the find of the year for me, folks. This is an original press of the irresistible Tammy Terrell on the Motown label. This came out in 1968. And this is one of Tammy's only albums since she passed away really young at only 24 in 1970. So this definitely is a great album. It's pretty hard to find. I did pick up the original copy or re-release of it for Record Store Day, but I love finding an original. And look at the OJs. I'm a big fan of the OJs, but I've got that album, and Diana Ross is in this bin. I mean, this is just such a great bin to look through, and it's always great prices here. Usually these records have some condition issues on their covers, but they play well. More OJs and some Four Tops. Love the Four Tops. And oh man, this is a cool record. Now, I do believe this is a compilation. I think it's on Jubilee. And this record's got a whole bunch of doo-wop groups on it. And I've said this a lot, but I love compilation albums because I love finding some of these doo-wop groups on these comps because otherwise you can't find them in the wild. So I'm really excited to get the Ravens and some of the other groups on that album. It will be a really fun listen. So that was a great find. And there's just tons of stuff in this bin, and you never know what you're going to find when you walk in here. Oh, look at Diane Warwick. Oh, yes. Lots of fabulous stuff. I almost wanted to pick up a lot more, but I'm running out of room for records, so I have to be a little bit more selective on what I pick up. But man, this is just a fantastic bin to go through. And oh my gosh, the Dell Vikings. Come Go With Me on Dot. Great compilation. I've got that album already, but I highly recommend picking that up if you don't have it. Another great record awaits me in the bins. This is James Brown, Prisoner of Love. Came out in 1963 on King, and this is a great record filled with rhythm and blues and soul. Can't wait to give that a listen. And boy, I've got quite the pile over there of records I've been finding. So many great things in the bins, including the Flamingos on End. Man, this is a tough record to find, and if I didn't already have it, I'd be scooping it up in a heartbeat. And check out this the South Street record by the Orleans came out in 1963. A great doo-wop record, one I don't have. Huge fan of the Orleans, so I am definitely going to be picking this up. I just heard them the other day on 50s on 5 through the doo-wop hour and was thoroughly enjoying it. And oh my gosh, look at this, guys. The Vandellas, Riding High. This came out in 1968. Definitely picking this up. It's an original press, great stereo copy there, and I've been getting pretty lucky with the original presses in this bin. And check out the coasters. You gotta love the coasters. I'd be surprised if you hadn't heard of them. Most people have heard of Yakety Yak, Charlie Brown, and Love Potion Number 9. They did a great cover of that. This is on Attico, and if you love the coasters, I highly recommend picking up this compilation. I have it, and I listen to it all the time. It is fabulous. So many wonderful records in this bin, and that's kind of the fun of crate digging. You never know what you're going to discover, so there's definitely a thrill element there that I just love. And look at this Pearl Bailey. Oh, another wonderful record. Came out in 1962. Great easy listening record. I love those kinds of records, that jazzy lounge feel. I am thrilled about this. So I was about to check out when the store owner says, "Hey, you really like that 50s and 60s sound?" I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "Well, hang on. There's a lady that just brought in her 50s collection, and I'll go get it and you can look through it. It's not priced yet, but if you see anything you like, just let me know." And it was a big stack full of Brian Hyland, Ricky Nelson, a lot of teenage heartthrobs, some Jimmy Rogers, the founder of country, just a lot of great stuff, and I had so much fun going through it. Sherry, of course, was in here by the Four Seasons. That's a pretty tough record to find, and again, if I didn't have it, I'd be scooping that up. And good old Santo and Johnny with Sleepwalk. I was just thinking the other day, I don't have that record. I need to get it. And, well, here it is. Lots of great, great artists in this bin. Bobby Darin, That's All. I've got that record, and that's a really fantastic listen. I just had so much fun going through this. You don't see these 50s albums very often in a record store, and it was just a wonderful time looking through all of them, and it is great this lady brought in her collection. Now, one of the things you have to be careful about with any records, but particularly 50s records, is the condition. A lot of times you find them pretty scratched up or warped because people just don't take care of them over the years, or they get shoved in some attic. But this lady took excellent care of her collection, which I was thrilled to see. This is the fabulous Fabian on Chancellor. Now, I love Fabian, and I know a lot of people are probably laughing at me for that, but I was looking to see if that record had Tiger on it, and it didn't, so I left it behind. And look at this, Duane Eddy, especially for you. Now, I have this record. I also have his other record that features the world-famous Rebel Rouser. That's probably my favorite Duane Eddy song. There were so many good records here. Look at this, Dion and the Belmonts, Wish Upon a Star. Love Dion. Have that record. It's a great original press there. This lady had everything. And Julie London. Oh, I love Julie London's voice. You can't beat that. I should have picked up that record along with She Cried by Jay and the Americans. Love Jay and the Americans. Been looking for some of their records, and I don't know why I left this behind. Now, this lady's collection had a ton of teenage heartthrobs, including a bunch of Frankie Avalon records. Now, I want to hear from you all in the comments if I should have picked these up. I do have the Young Frankie on the Chancellor label and a few others, but I'm running out of room, so I can't pick up everything. And this is Fabian and Avalon, again on the Chancellor label. I did pick this up because it's got Tiger on it, which is Fabian's probably most famous song, so I had to grab that. And I love those kind of duet records when different artists get together and make a record. Now, this is a great doo-wop compilation album. I did end up leaving this, though, because I already have something very similar to it. I could have literally bought this whole collection, but I didn't. Elvis, GI Blues. I mean, this lady had everything. It was just a treasure trove of 50s gold. Tons of Paul Anka. Gotta love Paul Anka. Now, I didn't pick any of those up either, so I want to hear from you if you guys feel like I was leaving stuff behind that I should have grabbed, because I just couldn't decide. There were so many great records here. Vintage Years of Duane Eddy. I'm pretty sure that's a compilation album. A lot of Elvis comps as well. Oh, look at this. Elvis via satellite. And Bobby Darin sings Ray Charles. Oh man, this was just such a fun little collection. And I love some of those greatest hits. Roy Orbison, can't go wrong with that. University of Florida Jazz Band, that's a very local record here. And tons of just fabulous things. I mean, I cannot say enough about this collection. Lots of Ricky Nelson records. Now, I do have quite a few Ricky Nelsons, but there's a few that I could have picked up to complete my collection, and I didn't this trip. I love this on the Imperial label. Just Ricky, I've got that. And I don't think I have album 7 by Ricky Nelson. Yesterday and Today's has a great selection of different genres, so there really is something for everyone, and they have a pretty big jazz section. Now, admittedly, I don't know a lot about jazz. That really isn't a genre that I've really gotten into, but everything I've learned has come from Blake over at Mid-Century Wasted, so I'm showing this section in honor of him. And of course, if you love jazz, I can always go back and pick anything up that you see that you have to have. Now, this is Julie London. I did end up picking up this record because, well, Julie London's just fantastic. I don't know a lot of the other records, though, in this bin, so I'd love to continue to learn. And maybe if there is something I'm missing, you guys can point it out in the comments, and maybe I can go back, get it, and give it a listen and learn a little bit more about it. I did take a closer look at this record on Decca, and I just thought this was a cool section to show for all the jazz lovers out there. Now, some of the records in this bin, I was a little more familiar with. John Coltrane, Lee Morgan, a lot of great jazz artists here in this bin. I definitely heard of some of these, and can't go wrong with Charlie Parker. So there were some really, really good records in this bin. Now, I have no idea if they were an original press or they were reissues. I do think there was some Tone Poet series stuff in here, which if you're not familiar with Tone Poet, definitely look them up. They make some great reissues of some of these old jazz records. They're really well done. So I do know quite a bit about that. And it was just fun going through this bin, seeing what other jazz stuff was available, and getting a chance to show it to all of you. Well, guys, that was such a fun trip into the record store. You gotta love Yesterday and Today's Records. They are just a fabulous place to shop for vinyl here in Jacksonville. And I picked up some great records for under $5. And so I will be sharing those on a very special program tonight on my YouTube channel. So make sure you stay tuned for my Flippin' and Sippin' takeover. That's right. I am taking over Flippin' and Sippin' for Mary Beth and Laura, and I'm going to have a fun vinyl haul for you showcasing all the records I picked up today on this shopping trip, as well as special guests you don't want to miss and Vintage Jeopardy. So make sure you come on by at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central for the Flippin' and Sippin' takeover. And of course, before my next video, guys, I'll be seeing you over on Instagram at vintage_and_vinyl. And I hope, as always, that you will stay in, stay safe, and pinch YouTube. Bye-bye, everyone.
What?